Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday, the 2nd of March 2022. I don't know where it is with you, but it's raining here in Yorkshire, in the Barbers' Arms in the Yorkshire region. We've sent out a search party and we found Dom Lehane. He's going to be back live back on Trinity Further here in the UK tonight. All in conjunction with Wahl UK and the British Barbers Association. We've got a cracker coming up for you tonight on episode 82. Me and Gaz are going to take you through our little news bits this week. Then we've got the voice of hairdressing. He's got that sexy voice. If you've ever been fortunate enough to do his podcast, he's the main man, and that's going to be Dom Lehane, who's going to be on Barbers' Arms for his debut tonight. And then we're going to go north of the border up to Aberdeen, and we're going to get Colin Petrie, who is the founder and owner of Hard Grind. That's all coming up on episode 82. Without further ado, please welcome the man from Benidorm, looking super tanned, looking super suave, Mr. Gary Machin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam Shaw. Buenas tardes, mi amigos. I just can't get it. It's good to be back, but not to be good to be back, if you know what I mean. Left 23 degrees, nice and sunny out there with cold beer on tap, and back in sunny, blustery Stoke-on-Trent. So there is a downside, but the good side is back with all the team, and I'm back on with you, mate.
You look fantastic. The rest, the sun, everything. You look absolutely diamond. And I've got an extra small Vivienne Westwood top for you that I think you put your name to this week. When we saw some of the museum tops that were coming out from the past on my Facebook.
I saw it. I did put a little message on there, same as your mates. You know, if you've got a medium going spare, I'll have it now. Now you've outgrown them all, but
I tell you what, Gary, if you ever do some of your clothes that you've kept, because when we do shows and stuff, I buy stuff for every exhibition. I've got to buy something. I love my clobber, but I look back and I think everybody knows me in the industry. I fluctuate with weight, and I look back at some of them tops. I'm like, 2030, where's he gone? Oh my gosh! I'm like, I need to get back down to that fighting weight, mate. Definitely, it's inspired me to only have 20 beers this weekend instead of the usual 35. Not anybody who knows me knows that I can't do 35 beers. Yes, Gary, what's been happening this week in the life of Rogers, you, BBA? What's been happening?
Wow, we're back in the grind, so to speak, back in the classroom. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday teaching, clients in the afternoon if I've got chance, and then day off tomorrow. So. And then Friday, Saturday, back in the salons, back in the barber shop, getting ready for you guys to coming down to me as well. So
the Project Men guys, I built you really up last time. We was in Milton Keynes last week, and we'll go through the agenda. So don't forget, on the 28th of March, we're going up to Gary Machin from the BBA. He's going to do his signature shave day with you all. And they're all really looking forward to it. Now, all of them, all 12, are staying over the night before. So do me a favour, don't fuck them right up. It's just take it steady. Don't get into drinking competitions, because you're not going to, I'll just fetch you a trophy and I'll give it you before we start. Let's just don't have any of them stood there.
They've got nothing to do. I'm the one who's doing all the work on the day, so they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Just look after yourself.
I'm a professional. I won't do anything untoward. You know me. Anyway, just before we get on to that, I'd like to say thank you for giving the time and effort and giving us a great show last week. So we had Janine Hawkins-Bush and Michael Levine all the way from North America. So we had 41,000 views last week. Thank you to all our usual listeners on podcast and catch up, and of course our live viewers who are joining us tonight as usual.
Well,
thank you very much.
I've got a live viewer actually in the arms tonight as well. We've got Carl Smith from Carl Smith's Grooming in Barnsley. He's actually live here in Barbers' Arms. So at some point tonight, I'm going to drag him round to the bar area and he's going to have a drink with us as well, live here on Barbers' Arms. There's no escaping it. You want to come to the arms tonight? I'm doing a show. So you have to do your participation on tonight's show.
You failed on the beer situation again. Carl, I'm going to have to put you in charge of his beer distribution.
You need to do that with him because he's so good at ordering stuff. Mate, this guy, you said to him, oh, but you're thinking about this product and you're thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to pay like 50 quid or 100 quid or it might be some taps for a bathroom. And he'll come back and he's got you the best taps, better than what you thought you could get. And he's got them for half. I don't know what he does. This guy's just like, he's just amazing at finding stuff on internet. He's a serial swiper.
Can I? I'll take that. Could be taken in a few different ways. Yeah, just before we carry on, just give a shout out to a few. Janine Swithers, Phil Jarman, Mark Walters as usual, and we have got the one and only Brian Guam all the way from Nova Scotia, but he's in Montreal, I think, at the moment. So truly inspirational and international viewers tonight. So please stay with us. Can I just do my first beer then while we're just
absolutely. What is it on the beer schedule tonight? They look horrid.
So we've got a firm that I found in Dorset. So these are Badger Ales. They're family brewed, independent. 7 generations have been brewing beer. So nearly 240 years of beer brewing. And this is Thirsty Ferret. They do quite a few beers. We've got 6 of the beers, but I'm only doing 3 tonight. This is an amber ale. It's 4.4. I'll show you how so you can see it's a nice blonde, really. A bit darker than a golden, but this is an amber ale. When I first had a look at these, they've all got great names, and you'll see the rest of them in a minute. But this is full-bodied, floral. It's got a bit of a lemony taste, a bit of the aroma, but it's supposedly got a biscuity. So when we go, everybody, Badger Ales. This is the Thirsty Ferret, all the way from Dorset, and they do a great. Beers, actually, they do quite a few, and they family run, so 250 years worth of heritage.
Well done, Badger Ales. They look very nice. You know, I'm not an ale as well, so I struggle with stuff like that. I'm just having God knows why these aren't sending me fucking cases every week, but Desperado Mojito again. I'm into them. Very minty, nice and fresh. It's a really refreshing drink. I'm not an expert on blogging on food or drink, but all I've got to say is it's refreshing, and you get drunk. And it's like being refreshed and electrocuted at the same time.
Well, all I can say about that one is absolutely
in one.
Absolutely, I could drink that all night. And these are 500 ml bottles, by the way.
Nice.
Absolutely beautiful, that is. It's 4.4, so you could probably drink that for the rest of the night. We could do a few of them.
Nice bottles. You know, when I see nice bottles like that, it always takes me back to my childhood. You know, we used to collect the bottles back and take them back to the shop and get 2 pence or a pence or whatever. I'm showing me Ben Shaw's, yeah, Ben Shaw's pop. Smith is interrupting in the background here as we're doing this. It's like one of those Chris Moyle moments where everybody's got a microphone and doing it. So if you hear a voice, everybody, in the background, it's Carl Smith from Carl Smith's Groom, and he's here in Barbers' Arms tonight with his nice Levi top on and a bucket load of Carlin. And don't forget to follow us on Simon Shaw Wahl. That's my Instagram. Gaz is the British Barber. Barbers_arms. Them's our Instagram accounts. If you want to look at our website and also any of the last 81 episodes, and the podcasts are all on there, the cartoon characters, everything. I always like, sometimes when I'm showing people abroad or I'm talking to people, we will do the I always say, have a look at some of the past episodes. Even new guests, they'll say, what do we need to do? And I'm like, have a look at some of the past episodes. So that's on thebarbersarms.co.uk. And if you want to email us, it is barbersarms@theBritishBarber. Don't forget as well, in between our guests tonight, we've got another product review coming up tonight, which is very close to home. It's our very own British Barbers Association. Me and Gaz are going to go through some of the products that we kind of use on a daily basis. One in particular, which is, everybody knows that BBA, my favorite, which is the post shave moisturizer. It's got dragon blood in it, and it gives you a really nice tone as well. If you're feeling a bit pepper and you feel a bit, like one of them mornings where you put a bit of that moisturizer in, it gives you a bit of colour. Absolutely fantastic. So we're going to review them in between the guests. The guest tonight, Gary, Dom, I can remember dropping on Dom maybe 6 years ago at a fellowship award. He had his little microphone and his little tape box with him. he said, oh, I'd love to do one of my podcasts with you. And at that point, I was one of the early ones that did one of the podcasts with him. And he's just gone on from strength to strength. You know, Dom is the hair media production company. We're going to talk to him about it this time, but he obviously did the show at Salon International just gone. But it's one of those, it's a bit like Barbers Arms. It's a bit like getting on the front cover of some of the magazines that, you know, the guys at Barber Evo tell me, you know, the queue to get on the front cover. But to get an interview with Dom is big as well. Tonight, we're going to reverse it around. We're going to interview Dom. And then after we've got Dom, we've got Colin from Hard Grind. So what do you think about these tonight, guys?
Fantastic. I mean, obviously, Dom's a household name now with the founder of How to Cut It, and he's got his own media production company as well. So that's really, but I'm really looking forward to Colin as well. You know, we've done the shows that we've done around the country. He's always been a big supporter of that. He's always been around there. I think he's been on your stage as well, hasn't he? I think he's been on Modern Barber stage.
I've met Colin loads of times at different awards. When I compare the Shabba Awards, I think not this last one, but the one before COVID, the Hard Grind got the Barbershop of the Year. So yeah, I've met Colin loads of times. Great guy. Does some great stuff up there. It's quirky. Looking forward to finding out a little bit more about Hard Grind. I know he's a big ambassador for Mataki Scissors as well. So yeah, that's going to be coming up as well. So it's going to be a packed show tonight, mate.
Yeah, it'll be good to hear Colin's story as well, and Dom as well. You know, Dom, where he started and where we went. Just quickly before we go as well, have you got any hard liquor there tonight? I'm
not doing shots tonight. It's Wednesday.
Right.
So I've got Thursday and Friday to get through.
I've got a day off tomorrow, so you're in for it. So I'm just going to toast you.
Well, I'll have some hard liquor if my guest has some hard liquor as well. So when we do the shot, what are you having now? What shot's that? Is that the Fireball?
This is what I had in the room in Disaronno. It's like a cheap amaretto.
Oh, listen, I love that with a Coke because it tastes like Dr. Pepper. I think we might participate in some nice little shot of vodka later with some ice in it, and we might just have one of them. Just
quickly as well. We bringing on the men's project. I bumped into somebody quite randomly. I was doing some work for Department of Education in the IFA in the week. I was on a Zoom meeting. And George out of your group was on there. He was representing somebody. I didn't hear much of him. He was quite quiet. I think he was a bit overawed. I've never seen him on the steering group before, and I've never done any work with him in that area. But
I was going to speak to his dad actually. He turned up at my project men in Milton Keynes College. He'd watched the night before, and he said he had a few beers. So I warned him specifically because he's the one that could get strayed with you in Stoke. So I'm going to keep my eye on young George. Great kid, doing really well at Tony and Guy. And as we said, we've had him on the show, and he's one of the only people that's ever been fetched into Tony and Guy just as a barber. He's doing great stuff, though. He's entering lots of competitions. He's trying to make a big name for himself. If he's, look at his dad, what his dad's done. Phil's done amazing. So, if George does that. So, yeah, he's getting himself a barber, isn't he?
Hey, one of your team as well. Janine, you're quite welcome to bring some with you. She's going to bring us some local beers that we can try on the arms as well. So
Janine drink pints. If you've got a female that's going to be in there, her and Tammy, they do drink. I think it's Tammy that drinks something like still cider. Fuck's sake. Oh. And when somebody says, no, I don't have any traditional stuff, I like the homebrew still cider, you know that's going to be dangerous because you know that they can drink. And, for me, I'm a lightweight, so we don't get any of that in the tread.
The thing is, though, anybody brings any drink to a party with no label on, it's going to be good, don't you?
Yeah. Well, we're ready. And this is going to be a big one tonight, guys. Episode 82 episodes to get this guy on. He's the man who interviews the top people, the top superstars in the industry, How to Cut It, and he is the owner of Air Media Productions. He's the voice. He's the sexy voice behind Hairdressing. He's made a fantastic name for himself, and he's a super guy if you ever meet him in real life. But if you listen to his podcast, we're going to find all about him tonight. here on Barbers Arms. 9.5 million views since we started. So keep watching us and keep sharing tonight. But without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Dom Lehane.
Thank you so much, Simon. What a lovely welcome. Finally in the Barbering Arms. Wow.
Oh, listen to this voice. It's just like
well, I tell you what, it was all right until the cameras finally came on us, and then it all was revealed. It was very disappointing for a lot of people.
Not for me, mate. I was saying to Gaz at the top of the show, you know, I think I met you. We'd seen each other about, but I think we met each other at a fellowship awards going back at the door some years ago. And you said, I want to do an interview with you. I think we got around to the February when we did it. And, you know, I think I've watched, I've listened to lots of the podcasts from that, but you've just developed it even further. We're going to find out a little bit about that. Dom, if you've watched Barbers Arms, we're going to ask you some questions about what you do, and for our viewers that watch us not only here in the UK but around the world as well, some of the stuff that we have. You'll see Dom's socials coming up on your screens as well now, so if you want to follow Dom on any socials, they're going to be popping up on your screens for you guys at home that's watching. But Dom, we're going to start off with some serious questions, then we'll finish off with some quick fire questions to finish off with.
Okay.
My first question to you, and I listen to interviews, and you know, the voice itself is fantastic. And you know, you speak to a lot of presenters. You know, Alan Brazil talks about it, tells how he looks after his voice, and you know, some of the stuff he has to do. And I think a lot of people like yourself, it's just natural. But my first question is going to go straight into it. Who is the hardest interview you've done so far? Who's been the most challenging? Because when you're doing a podcast, you're not seeing people. So you might know them, you've met them, and you get them set up for this interview, and you start your interview. And look, Barbers Arms is all about honesty. You'll see us, we say it as it is. But who's been the, and don't fucking say me, by the way, but who's been...
You took it off my lips, Simon. I was really into, you know, I did feel quite under pressure interviewing you because you are such the man of the stage and have such a respect for your hosting. I did feel a lot of pressure in interviewing you, if I'm being dead honest. But you were super cool, mate, honestly.
Who's been the toughest interview that you've done?
Oh, do you know, it's a good question, and it's a question that, I think it comes down to, I think, look, I interviewed Angelo Seminara, and again, Angelo, you know, whether you're a hairdresser, barber, everybody knows of Angelo, you know, and I thought, you know, how would Angelo be? Could be a little bit challenging, and it was a bit challenging. I won't go too much into it. He was delightful, polite, everything that you could be, but sometimes there can be politics around people, and there was a little bit of politics which maybe I didn't really want to enter into, but so I would probably say it was one of my proudest interviews, but definitely one that maybe could have been a bit difficult. And I'll leave it at that.
Can I just, for our viewers, Dom, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. Can I, for the show, I always get somebody to do a little quick bio. Not everybody. I'm sure most people must know you in the Barbers Arms, but there is the odd one or two that might not have heard of you or haven't seen the show or the podcast. Can you give us your background and just a couple of minutes bio of who you are, what you are, and where you are at the moment in your career?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate probably a lot of people have no idea because I know it's a lot of the barbering gods that come onto the show. But yes, look, I think the first thing that I always love to stress is that I am a hairdresser. Have been 36 years, started out YTS, Youth Training Scheme, Trevor Sorby, before I became homesick a year later, back home in the Midlands in a place called Northamptonshire, surrounded by hairdressing. Yeah, my mum was a hairdresser, my nan, and my great nan. So, you know, everything has been about me has been a hair industry. Became a salon owner, 93. That took me on a different direction. I actually did own a men's grooming salon, if you want to call it that, back in 1999. Dare I say, before it became really, really big. You know, it was a time of all the lab mags, and we overestimated it. I have to be totally honest. I think we got our business plan wrong, me and my brother. We went too big too soon with it, and you know, we had to call it a day. But we did, you know, we entered into the men's grooming world, and it was something that I have always loved, men's hairdressing. And I cutting has always been my thing. I've got to be totally honest. I think the craft aspect of hairdressing is probably what I feel more in love with than maybe the artistic. But the journey became a hairdresser. But I think deep down, my soul was always in events and just giving opportunities for people, if I'm being totally honest. And I actually I went in a little bit into club promoting, which people don't probably know, but locally I love banging house music. I was brought up in the club era, and I still to this day. So we done club promoting, and that was a trigger then for me to start a platform called Hair Club Live. Hair Club Live was what was, it's still going, but I'm no longer part of Hair Club Live. But we created a concept called Open Chair Night, which gave an opportunity for hairdressers and barbers to come up on a stage, have 10 minutes on stage to shine, share, and inspire. And it was a huge success. I mean, we toured around for about 4 years, but during that period of Hair Club Live, I think I was always a frustrated sports commentator. You know, my days of playing Subbuteo football as a kid and doing commentary was I think that's probably what led me into it. So I started the podcast with no real big missions other than just adding it to what was Hair Club Live. It was just something else that was going to go. It was adding a conversation of bringing people out there. And this, in truth, Gary Simon, was probably before the point of everybody going live, you know, and everybody went suddenly live in a massive way in 2020. You know, there was definitely there. But I think I was at the start of probably saying that maybe at the time was quite geeky. I think if you listen to podcasts, it was very geeky, and we done that. And I've been consistent with the podcast. And people used to say to me, well, how do you make money from it? And the truth was, I made absolute bugger all from it. But it was a passion and it was a love. And sticking at it, I never went in with it thinking of fame and fortune. It was just something that I thoroughly enjoyed. And
you say that, Dom, but you know, I think you're right. You were the first that did this consecutively. You know, consistently. You know, we're in episode 82 of this, and you know, we never dreamt that when we started it at a terrible time across the globe in terms of what happened, lockdown, but we started it, which then, you know, some of our weeks when we did, if you remember, Gary, when we did the two guys from India, Jawed and Alam Hakim, we had 402,000 views in 1 week. And
that's incredible.
It's just unbelievable. Numbers, we never imagined when we first started this that these shows would have got to 9 million views. But you were the original. When you say you didn't get financial, and I know you didn't, but through the voice, through the technique, I'm sure you've had opportunities through this. Because I remember I spoke to you once and said, we'd love you to do something with Wahl. So I'm sure there's been opportunity. I know you've done some stuff recently for Weller. You hosted their conference and stuff, and it looked amazing. And, you know, no better person in the industry you're so neutral as well, because you're not tied to any brands, which I love that you could do something for Weller, but you could easily do something for L'Oreal. You could do something for Goldwell. You could do something for Wahl. There's no ties there. And I just think that, you know, that's been great for you as well, watching it. So, yeah, I think you are the original podcaster, especially in this industry. And I think you've done an amazing job, mate. And I know lots of people I speak to, you know, we were saying at the top of the show, I do a column for Barber Evo, and the two guys there, David and Andrew, they tell us people are scamming to everything possible. Can I get on the front cover? Barbers are wanting to get on the front cover. I think your podcasts are very similar. They all want to be interviewed by you now, some of the top names.
It's lovely.
And we've been very fortunate on here. We've had Errol on. We've got Rob Eaton coming on in a couple of weeks when he becomes the new president. You know, we've had some big names, Jamie Stevens. We've had not just barbers on, we've had some real big names on here. My next question, first question is who's the hardest interview you've done? My next question to you, who surprised you the most when you've interviewed them? Somebody who you thought this is going to be hard?
Yeah. And that's a good question again, Simon. But then that's why you do this, you two, isn't it? To come up with good questions. The one who surprised me the most was an easy one on that, and that was Nil Colgan. I don't know, again, from a hairdressing world, to say he's based in Limerick in Ireland. If you know of Noel is a big personality. You know, he's Irish. He can talk for England or talk for Ireland, whichever way you want to look at it. And Noel had got in touch with me, and at the time, this was, I think, 2019. And he wanted to talk about his sort of story in the industry and, you know, the difficult periods that people have been through. And I do get a lot of this sometimes now with people with mental health. They want to talk about it. And I'm always conscious I don't want to overload the whole mental health conversations, because I think, you know, it's got to be really inspirational for me. And I think it's easy to do it. But he came on the show, and I have to say, it was one of them. The first 5 minutes, I asked questions like what you're asking the pair of you. And well, for the next hour, I literally just sat there and said so little. I mean, I didn't have to direct him, but he told a story that was just incredible. It blew me away. And what it is to this day, our second highest downloaded podcast. And it wasn't because he was super famous. It was just that he talked about his battles with drugs, suicide, ego, you know, how he stood on the cliffs of Moherm and was, you know, at the very point of throwing himself off those cliffs. And I think that story just resonated. So without a shadow of a doubt, that one would be my real standout.
Gary, you're on mute.
It does that.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a time to curse people, isn't it, Simon?
He does it on purpose. I'm sure he's got a remote control anyway. Just following on from that, Dom. I mean, we've been doing this show, and you know, we've interviewed some great people. I think what surprises us every week, and even the most some of the guests that come on, even the most influential or the most humble, is how honest people can be sometimes. I think some of our interviews that we've done, people might not have known at the time. You know, we did Nick Arosia from New York, and what a time he'd had through COVID and everything else. When people are really bare their souls and actually give you that story, you do actually want to sit with them and carry on. I know we've only got an hour and a half for the show, an hour and 20 minutes. And we have multiple guests, and we have to get things in. But there is certain times when you think, I just don't want this to stop. You know, you literally just want that and keep going and going and going.
But don't you think, Gary? I'd say that that's a massive credit to the pair of you that you have that. And it's probably very similar to why actually we're all pretty good at doing lives and having conversations, because I think the best conversations come from people that actually feel relaxed and in company. And, you know, you could have, you know, 4,000 views, 20,000 views, whatever. But if you're comfortable in a company, you kind of switch off from that and you just go into a very natural conversation. And that's kind of what we do standing behind the chair, is that we are just naturally very good at conversation. So I think we all make good hosts deep down, and by opening up that conversation, and people feel comfy, and once they're comfortable, then you'll get the juice and the bits that people really want, or you hope.
You just said something there about Niall, but we had the Scorum boys on, probably in the 60s episodes. It's nice for us as well that what we've done over the period is you don't go in with your big hitters for your first 10 shows. It's like we've interviewed people around the world, and, you know, especially when it were in lockdown as well, you know, we were interviewing people, you know, in different countries, and that was good. But when they came on, they're so honest about, you know, the way that they've turned their lives around. They were always, they revolutionized barbering, really. But the drugs, the drinking, you know, the separate, you know, the relationships and all that kind of stuff. And them interviews are so good to do that. And our views are so, people resonate with it. It's like, they're like us. People at home, people listening, they watch it and think, that's just like, we're going through that now.
Yeah. Totally. I think you want to see people and listen to people that you see sink in. You know, we warm to people that you just think, well, they're kind of like me. They're not, there's no ego there. I think we just zone off with people with egos, don't we? I certainly do. I find anybody that's got an ego, you know, it's very off-putting. And I just think it's like what you said at the very start, you know, we'd be open and honest here, but that's what you get when you go into your local boozer, isn't it? You sit down with a group of mates, you have open, honest conversation, and we like that. And I think that's what's attractive in people in general.
I'll tell you a little story, Dom, about I had Project Men up in Barnsley a few weeks ago, and one of the guys stayed behind. I said, I'm going to take you to my local tonight. I'll tell you about that in a second. Gaz has got another beer review. Dom, what are you drinking tonight?
Look, do you know what? I kind of I had to quit because I'm in my studio, but I've just gone for a good old Magnus cider. I'm always happy with I should have got more, but I only got the one. So I'm trying to drink it very spare, just taking my time with it, which is hard.
You'd be not with Gary, just with one. Gary, what we're reviewing next?
Schoolboy error, that is, Dom. That is, but schoolboy error only bringing.
Sorry, mate. I do apologise.
So today we've got another Badger beer, another Badger ale, all the way from Dorset, and we've got the Hopping Hare. This is a pale ale. It's 4%, so you can drink this one, Simon. You could drink this all night, 4%. You'd be all right with this. Bit paler than the one we've done before. It's a light pale ale, citrus. And when you drink this, this is one of those session beers where you can drink it all the way through the night. We've got it in our lovely glass that we've sent to us. Simon, have you got yours? I hope you have. So
I've got my Barbers arm glass. What's wrong with you?
So this is American and Cascade hops. Really taste the barley in it. I had to try one of these, obviously, last night. I had to go through the beers just to make sure they were all right. So this is the Hopping Hare. Oh,
it's hopped off.
Oh, you've hopped off. Hops and hops. Hopping.
Hopping Hare.
Oh, Hopping Hare, yes. Beautiful.
Right. So, cheers, gentlemen. All the very best.
Cheers, Gary, Simon. With Mr. Boy cider.
Oh.
I've only got a rubbish glass in here, so I was really unprepared for the beer and the alcohol tonight. Shameful.
First 40 shows, Gary did a cocktail every week. I don't know if you ever saw it of them, and some of them were absolutely fantastic. Well, all of them were really good, but we've kind of run out of cocktails to do. And I'll never forget Errol coming on. I think he had a bottle of Vive that night. He just he had his dinner suit on. He picked up another 7 awards that night, and he had a bottle of champagne with us. Dom, I'm going to ask you. Go on, sorry, Gary.
I think that was a standout for me with Errol as well. We had so much feedback. Errol was so cool on the night. But not only that, I did him a porn star martini at the same time. That was his choice of drink. And so many people was, because they don't get them in that situation, do they, Dom? Where they're in front of the camera, having a beer, talking rubbish. You know, we got him giving us a few tidbits, and we nailed him on a few different things. And he let
you got that fellowship guard down, did you?
Oh, he let his guard down. And people said, I can't believe that was Errol Douglas on the show. It was absolutely brilliant. So that's just what we're talking about. Exactly what we're talking about.
The fellowship. I've been a member of the fellowship since I was 20, so 32 years, and it's the first year that I've said I want to get involved. Last year, so Barry and Ken approached me to do Project Man, and I've hit it. It's like I'm made to do it, and I'm not just saying that, but it's just really good. And there's going to be more announcements going to be made about some stuff I'm going to be doing at Fellowship. But I've got to say how much bloody work they put me through. I think my MD last week. I'm just looking at all these Fellowship days. You've got like 8 days this month. I just don't know where they come from. But it's a great part to be with. Just before I ask you any more questions, I want to ask you, because we spoke at Salon International. I know I sent you some flippers for the show you did.
Thank you.
But just tell all our viewers, you had something happening at Salon International, Sophia, yourself, stage.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about what happened and what your success and
yeah, it was mental, to be quite honest. So I think for quite some time we wanted to do a live event. So I've been wanting to sort of do something under the banner of How to Cut it, but we also do a live show on Facebook as well. We do 5 episodes of a series called The Hair Show, and that's similar sort of vibe. We have lots of different segments that come in. We talk, we have hair hacks and what have you. But we kind of built this lovely, colourful community, and we were coming out of that point of the COVID restrictions. We could put on some live events, and I just thought, you know what, I want to put on a live event under the Hair Show banner. So we done the Hair Show Unleashed in October 2021 at the Lafayette Theatre. It was with myself hosting it, Sophia Hilton, the Madhead Georgia Bell, and then we basically it was sponsored by Crazy Colour, and it was colourful. It was a party. It was nothing more than bringing people together. So if you were coming along for an educational clinic of haircuts, the industry is full of that, and that's absolutely amazing. But what we wanted to do was bring people together in an entertainment. We call it hairtainment. And it was a cross between Graham Norton, the Generation Game, a whole host of these. We had
I saw one part where somebody were describing to one of the hairdressers that were blindfolded.
Yeah, they had challenges. They had to pop balloons and cut hairstyles. So, and then we just had a party. I wish we could have just had it longer, because the party was starting to go off big time. And I think we had around about 380 people that turned up on the night. So it was a fantastic night. And I know yourself, Sam, supported us with the clippers, which were great as part of the raffle. And yeah, part of the arrangement, sponsorship with Crazy Colour, supported the LGBT IQA plus. So there was money raised towards that as well. But it was just a great night, just very colourful. If you want, like I say, we didn't take it too seriously, and that was the whole point of it.
Excellent. Dom's Instagrams and all these socials will be coming up on your screen as well. While they're coming up as well, don't forget to follow me, Simon Shaw Wahl. Gary is the British Barber, Barber_arms. There are Instagram accounts. If you want to watch any of our last episodes, 81 of them already loaded up there, or any of the podcasts, you can see the cartoon characters, me and Gaz. They're all on our website, which is the barbersarms.co.uk. And if you want to email us, that is barbersarms@thebritishbarber.com. Those are our social medias, along with Dom's on screen right now. Dom, one big question I have for you, then I'm going to pass back to Gaz, but this is a biggie. If you was on a desert island and you had just 3 people that you could take on this desert island to interview, who would be the 3 people? It can be out of our industry or it can be anybody. But who would be the 3 people that you would like to interview on a desert island?
Wow. That's a big one, isn't it? I'd like to interview Vladimir to begin with. I think that would be very interesting to see what makes his head absolutely as crazy as it is. So I'd probably take him just for that reason. From a football point of view, Trevor Brooking, because I'm a huge West Ham fan. So I would love to interview Trevor Brooking. And then we've got to get somebody else. Who else would I do? I don't know. I'm rubbish on this when you put on the spot. And I would like to bring back from the dead Bobby Moore as well, because I never saw him play, and there'd be lots of questions that I would love to ask him. So yeah, lots. You can see football I truly love as well, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So I'm a long-suffering hammer. And
well, you're having a good season.
Yeah, it's been all. It's dying away a little bit. I mean, the win against Wolves was absolutely huge, actually, at the weekend. So, look, anything's good fighting above the bottom 4, or bottom 3 for us. It's been good. We're getting spoiled the last 2 seasons, It's pushing for this Champions League spot is it's exciting. So, football was always a big part of us growing up as a kid, going down to Upton Park in the late 70s. And early 80s, a lovely peaceful environment that was.
I always used to call it Upton Park, and then I think the last couple of years before
it went all fashionable, didn't it? Bowling ground.
Bowling ground, and I'm like, it's Upton Park.
I think too many hipsters have moved into the sort of East London area now.
Well, it's
full
like
of hipster barbers.
It was never Shoreditch. You were always a shithole. So that's like that's changed as well. Gaz.
There was no hipster barbers in the 80s when Stoke used to go West Ham.
Oh, there were definitely no hipster barbers then. So are you Stoke then, Gary?
A Stoke fan, I am, mate, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Who did you play the other night? Did you play last night? When was it? I saw it last night, wasn't it? Against Palace.
Crystal Palace. Lost 2-1 in the cup, didn't we?
Yeah, it was. I think you pulled it back 1-1, didn't you? If I remember right.
Yeah.
I was seeing that.
Anyway, enough of that. We're in the lower division now, so you can shame me no more now. That's it. Go on, what were you going to say, Sam?
I was just going to say that Liverpool are still drawing with. I'm not a Liverpool fan, but they're still drawing with Norwich. There were some big upsets.
West Ham are playing as well, so you know what I'm giving up tonight. They're playing Southampton as we speak. So if anybody's got any updates, please let me know what the updates are.
Spurs went out last night. Just a quick hello to all our viewers that's watching us. Rick Roberts, who watches every single week.
Hey, Rick.
Massive fan of Barbers Arms. He's been on Barbers Arms loads of times as well. But Rick does some great stuff on this channel as well. Dom, looking at everything that you've done so far with the interviews, and I know we've just put you on a desert island with, you know, fetching people back and stuff. But you know, what's the next 12 months now? We're coming out of, you know, I think we're coming out of lockdown. I don't know about you, mate, but guys, you're probably the same as well. I know, but from a Wahl point of view, we're out of it, and people saying they're making a lot of noises, but it's still not happening. Trainings, people are cancelling. I don't think we've really hit it yet. What's in store for you? What's the plans for you this next 7 months, 8 months? That's you know, taking for 2022. What's the plans for you?
Yeah, I think it's been massive anyway, hasn't it? I mean, there's no getting away from it, COVID, and you know, the uncertainty that everybody feels now. But you've got to remain positive, and I think the whole thing of going forward is about positivity, and I think we've got to bring that in the industry. The industry has changed beyond recognition. I think 2 years, it's been just enormous, the shift, and you know, you don't need me to tell you that, you know, the rise of educators and the rise of digital, and we've all discovered things. But I still think as an industry, live is key. I can't ever get away from live because we like meeting with people. So for me, live is going to be key. I want to work on live events. You know, we're coming up to 5 years in the 17th of this month, 5 years of the podcast. So I want to be doing some, a bit of a how to cut it tour. That's something that I'm keen on. We are very keen to, bring those out. I think I've got ideas on some events that I would like to work on. I'm working with some brands now on digital content. So, and including that is I want to get into the live streaming, actually there with all the gear and the setup. And to build a separate brand for How to Cut It, the community now. I'm really keen for a cohort community of professionals. So I'm actually at this period of time working on the branding, working with someone well established in the industry on branding. And we're kind of giving a whole new direction of where we want to go, because ultimately for me, everything is about giving people a passion. I think standing behind a chair is amazing. We all know it. We sometimes just need other things to throw ourselves into. You know, you guys do it well, you know, with the British Barbers Association, Wahl, and being on stage. I think those things are really important for people. It just helps keep everything exciting. I don't know about yourselves, but, you know, for me, dipping my toes into competitions and events and just different opportunities in general, I think is really good for everybody.
There was nothing like Salon this year. You know, Gary were with me all weekend. But, you know, some people said to me, what's the best part of your careers? And so for me, you know, you're very fortunate, and it's already started with traveling again. I'm very fortunate to travel the world. But if I had to pinpoint one point, it's when you do the Barber of the Year, the Barbershop of the Year on that Wahl stage on the Sunday afternoon about 4 o'clock at Salon International. You know, you're going to change somebody's career. And
it's mental, Simon, when you stand on there. I mean, I always say that I've had the privilege to go to Salon International every year since I went there with my mum in 1984 before I went into hairdressing. I think I've only missed 2 in those. And the things that I would always say, and I love Salon International, but it's yourself, that stage, what you're doing, and Patrick Cameron, and the fellowship, you know, those are the two, but you can always hear you if you're at the other side of this of the venue. That is for sure. And you just build up such a drama and excitement, and that's mega. And you can see people feed off that. So it's a very special thing to have that.
You just said something there, Patrick. Somebody said to me in a question, guys, last week, I was doing some media training with the Project Men guys, and I was teaching them, and I said, right, ask me some question. We had cameras on us, and one of the questions, the idea of the media training was to turn the question around in the answer. We've all done it. So it was like, who inspired you to be? When I went to maybe Earl's Court in 1986, and I see this guy with big bushy hair, and when he went on stage, he had a massive audience. And I went and he did long hair, and I couldn't do long hair, but I was just amazed with his passion, but his confidence, and the way he got people around his audience. You know, Patrick, It was Patrick all those years ago in 1986 that made me think, I need to, if I'm going to do anything in this industry, I need to do what he's doing. And I hope, you just said it there, I hope that we've created that.
But can you imagine what that does for young people coming into the industry that go along to these events, whether you're a young barber, I always say, look, hair industry, regardless of what men's, ladies, whatever you do, but just seeing that and seeing like Rick watching this show, he's a stage presenter. He does it so brilliantly. It's about connecting and having, you need big personalities on the stage at times because it excites people. And if you get people excited, then they feel like what's available to us. And look, I will say, I grew up around hairdressing. I had no interest in the industry whatsoever, right? But it was going to Salon International that opened my eyes. And it was the showmanship, the buzz, the drama, the educators. It was all that I fell in love with. And I think to have that continue to this day is massively important for our industry. And I think we need to get it out on the road more often. I think when we talk about not getting people into the industry, I actually think people do come into the industry. I'm not quite so convinced that they're not coming into the industry. I just don't feel they stay in it long enough, or they go around it because they lose the what's available to them. And they can't always, once a year.
So fetch him to exhibitions, because if you fetch somebody at 14, 15 to them exhibitions, and they've got an artistic flair to them, or there's something, I'm sure Salon International, Barber Connect, something of those sorts will inspire people to be what they want to be next. I was very privileged to be part of Sally's film that she did, and that. But for me, fetching kids, not kids, but fetching people who are ready to look at a career, instead of just doing careers talk, take them on a bus and get them to Salon International, get them to Barber Connect, get them to Pro Air Live, whatever 100%. It's going to be, because those live shows for me are so inspirational. Or whether, and if you're not at a Wahl stage or one of the big colour houses, go to the fellowship, and you've just got the creme de la creme.
I think you need to get the mother and fathers in there rather than the students themselves, because they just think, what, you can make a living at that? They need to see the other side. They need to see what money can be made. They need to see how you can be inspired and where you can end up in the industry. I think that's the problem.
I think you're dead right as well. And sometimes it's like I'm going to the NEC on Friday. So it's the careers fair at the NEC. And, I'm taking my 17-year-old lad along to have a look. And I often think that, there's no representation of our industry. There's nothing. I know Emma Brady done it with Choose Hair, and just try and get that momentum. And I salute anybody that's attempting to do that, because it's not easy. But I feel we do have to talk more about the career, and the career now is so much more. And I know when people say you can be an educator, you can work in TV and film, there's so much more in terms of, like, social has created a whole new genre of different areas of our industry, and they may not be able to do that full time. But it's like what I just said not long back, is is having a bit of something to just step into that could just make the difference of those 4 days behind the chair just feel really exciting. And I'm sure people that are watching this will probably feel that too, that I need something else just to give me a little bit more of a buzz, break up the whole repetitive side of it that doesn't always, you can get a little bit tired of.
Just quickly, before Simon piles in with his end of interview questions, who's the one and only that you would want to interview now? And I know you've done so many, and there's one elusive guest that worldwide that you'd want to get on the show. Who would be the one?
I'd like to bring Guido on. I haven't interviewed Guido, I think, or Guido. I had one opportunity to interview him. He was, I'm up for it. But I just couldn't do the time. It was literally, I had to get on it within a 2-hour period of him sort of saying, yes, I could do it, which I totally sort of understand. So, I think him, and I think there's so many exciting names. Sometimes actually now it's not always the biggest names. It's actually people that are trying to do things a little bit differently that maybe excite me more than anything else, that are trying to disrupt the industry a little bit. That I find really exciting.
Fantastic. Good. I'll hand you to Simon.
I'm just saying that they got it as it is looking for people to disrupt the industry. Have you interviewed Barry Stevens from the Fellowship? Anyway, moving on. Quick fire questions. He'll love that. I'm with him next week in London, so he'll probably give me a kicking leg for that.
Yeah.
Quick fire questions. We always finish off with some quick fire questions, Dom. So here you go. Dom Lehane from, for me, you're just the voice of this industry, mate. The original podcaster. What you've done is amazing. I think people want to be on your show. You created that need 5 years into it. And, I just think I've got so much respect for you, mate, what you've done. And I've learned loads off you as well. I don't have so much, but, you as what we do and what Gary does with the BBA, you always want to get off and you always think you're groundbreaking. And yes, you are. But there's certain things that I'll take a bit of that and I'll take a bit of that. And you're a person I take a bit from. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Dom, what's your favourite food?
Oh, I love chips. I love chili con carne. I love carbs. I love beige food. I love a good burger and chips, slashed with beautiful cheese and bacon. I could eat that right now, and you probably got me thinking of that right this second. So nothing flash. I'm not a flash person whatsoever.
What's your favourite music?
It's got to be deep banging house. Anything with a beat. I love electronic beats. So yeah, as a kid growing up, Madness. I loved the whole Madness era as well. But yeah, I still love electronic music and dance music. It just does it for me every time.
What's your favourite destination?
New York. I love New York.
What's your favourite drink?
My favourite drink is I like I'm going to be slaughtered here, but I do love a Jack Daniels with Coke on a night. I know I'll kill it with a Coke, but I just love a JD with Coke and two-step dancing whilst in my hand. I'm very happy then.
And we're going to ask you this next question. You can fetch somebody back from the past or somebody in the future or whatever you want to do. But if you had to have an hour and a half dinner date with somebody, who would you like to have that dinner date with?
Oh God, who would I like to have that dinner date with? She's got to be hot, hasn't she? So
he or she?
She for me personally. So she dinner date. Oh my goodness, I so struggle with this. I've got to be honest. If I'm just going eye candy dinner date, let's be honest, I'm going to have that. Catherine Jenkins does it for me every time. But hey, there you go. So Catherine Jenkins, and I'm not too worried about having deep, meaningful conversation whilst I tuck into my messy, dirty burger. I'm sure she'd be all over me for that.
Well, mine's yeah, I like that, Catherine Jenkins, because in the morning she can always sing you a song. Mine will be very, very, that in the morning you can look at her and she's gonna fucking bake you a cake at some point in the day. So here we go, Dom Lehane. Here we go. He's having his favourite food, which is chips and a burger with loads of cheese. Let's get them carbs loaded up. He's
Beautiful.
listening to his favourite house music. He's doing all this in the fantastic New York. Let's find a little cool place in Tribeca where he's got the music and he's got the cheeseburger happening. He's having his favourite drink, which is JD and Coke, and he's doing all this with the amazing singer, Catherine Jenkins. Dom, you have been a pleasure to have. Been looking forward to this interview. My producer's going mad because we've gone 10 minutes over, but so what?
Sorry.
You're amazing to interview. Anybody who's watching this across the world, click into Dom's podcasts and listen to an amazing interviewer. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Big love to you both. Thank you for inviting me.
God bless you.
See you later.
Dom, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you, Gary.
Hopefully we'll have
I wish I could have a tash like yours, by the way, but I just can't.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you for inviting me. Cheers.
See you
Bye.
later.
Well, we could have gone on forever there.
Yeah, it's one of those nights, isn't it?
It's just like he does so many interviews for people, and then I'm interviewing him, and it's like I could just continue to ask him loads of questions. So yeah, product review, Gary. We've got the BBA products. What we're going to talk about, because these are
on our tried and tested tonight. We've got 3 products. We've gone across the range, so we've got 1 shave product, 1 skin product, and 1 hair product. So I'm going to do the first one, then you're going to do the middle one, and then I'll finish off with the hair product. So to start off with, we're going with our shave oil, or beard and shave oil, the BBA beard and shave oil. As you can see, comes in really neat packaging, very clinical, very nice, works really well. The pumps never failed in all the times I've ever used these. I've used these for quite a few years now. Absolutely fantastic. Great size, so you travel with this as well, so you don't have to travel with your shaving cream. It's two, so it doubles up. It's a very, very neat shaving oil, so we can use this to shave with. So protects the skin from shaving, but also it's very good at moisturizing as well. So it leaves a moisturizing film on the actual skin as well, protection as well. Got a huge amount of ingredients. This product line was based on the actual ingredients. Absolutely fantastic ingredients. So with these, we've got hemp seed oil, prickly pear seed oil, argan oil, but our secret ingredient as well is, go on, do you know what's in this one, Simon?
It's not the dragon. No, not that one. Is it? It's dragon blood.
Yeah, so we've got the Sandraga Grego, which is a plant extract from, and it's in all the products, or a lot of the products. Fantastic, because it helps to replenish and protect the skin as well. But the reason I like this, you only need a couple of, but when you rub it in, you can actually leave this on the skin. So when we have all this, when we rub it into the skin, when we shave, when we do a neck shave or anything like that, we can leave this on the skin because it hydrates as well. Absolutely beautiful.
I've used the oil as well for lining in as well. So, if you're just lining in,
you can shave with it as well. So, I mean, this is a 2-in-1, and for a moisturizing product. And the main thing is we can sell it and use it as a beard moisturizing oil as well. So we put this onto the beard, and it moisturizes as well. So it's a shaving and a beard oil in the same product. Beautiful. Really recommend it. Love it to death. So I know you've used this, but you've used all yours anyway. We're gonna have to send you some more, aren't we? Anyway?
I tell you what, we've had lots of people. We've had Captain Fawcett, we've had Homage, and now we're working with the BBA products. But this is the one product as well. I'm doing it from a consumer's point of view. You work with the brand all the time, but I'm doing it for somebody who uses it every day. So my product, like the face wash, I absolutely love it because, a lot of guys don't use face washes. Some don't use moisturizer. So for me, when you're using a face wash, it's not something that, people use shower gel and just do everything. I think, from a point of view, especially if you're bald as well, I use this on my head as well, and it's absolutely superb. It's got that little bit of grit into it. But when you've cleaned it, I don't know if anybody else does, but I always finish off with like maybe a 30-second cold shower to finish off with. When I finish and I dry, my skin feels like chalk before I put moisturizer on. So the face wash just cleanses my face so well that, and I've used other brands. I've used Decleor, I've used your partner's products. But that one for a guy is absolutely spot on. It just makes your skin feel like fantastic.
The thing is with that one, you can use it as a cleanser. If you put water with it, you can add it as a normal cleanse. But also, it's an exfoliator as well. It's got, the little it's got rice particles in there, which absolutely, is using it all around these areas, around the nose, gets rid of all the dry skin. So you just got to be careful. Not to use too much of the product, but I agree, it's fantastic. Feels
really small part of my palm, and then what I do is, guys, I'll get the water and I'll really exfoliate, and then I use it. I don't put it on like just straight out. I'll put water to it, but especially around this area here, if you get any blackheads and stuff like that, it just like eliminates everything. It's just really, really nice face wash. That I love it.
Finishing off then, we've got one of our products that we've tried and tested. I know quite a few of us. You haven't used this one, Simon, have you? Because you are
like that.
Aren't you? So this is the product I go to. This is the Texturizing Clay. When we use this, you can see, if you just can see the colour of it there, it's like a grey matty colour. Can you see that on camera? So when we actually use this, when we take a little peanut size into the palm of the hands, as soon as we start rubbing this in, as soon as we start agitating the cream, it goes white. And that is the time when we actually apply it to the hair. Great product. It's got quite a high hold or medium hold if you use a little of it. If you use more of it, you can build more volume into there as well. And the thing, the texture of it is, the more you use, the more texture you get. But if you want just a light, medium, matte hold, as if you've got no product in it and you can still put your hands through it, this is the product for you. It's got volcanic ash in it. That's the main ingredient of this one. But when we work with this, it's got kaolin in as well, and protein complex and a few other things that's in this. But when we use this, it's really easy. All the products are color coded as well. So you got the purple top here, the royal purple. So all the products in the range that for hair and styling are all purple. Then you've got the other ranges as well. But the main thing is it washes straight out as well. It's got no lanolin in there, but it's got a really, really nice finish as well.
On clients, and over lockdown, I used it on mannequins as well. And it is quite nice and light as well. So when if you're going to restyle a mannequin, it just washes out straight away. Even if you just put hot water on it, it comes out straight away. So it is that. Guys, I know we've pushed for time. Just one last product, though, that I love is the shea butter.
Is it the butter or the balm?
No, I've got the shea butter.
All right, okay, yeah.
I love that product. If you're bald and you shave your head, it's literally the softest product to use. Absolutely. Warm water, get some shaving, put it into your palm of your hand, put some, you get a nice shaving brush, warm water, just put it through your hair, through your scalp, and it's literally one of the nicest things to shave with. It glides through, and it just keeps going well. So they are really nice products. The BBA have got some really nice products, especially on the shaving side.
The one you're talking about is that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So when we talk about the shea butter, we do a shave cream as well, but the shea butter is purposely for home use, and it's not a cream, it's a butter, so it doesn't lather at all. So when you use
it doesn't lather, but I use it with a shave brush, and I make sure I distribute it. When I said it from you using these products all day, I use them at home. So I'm doing it when you're retailing to your clients. If you retail these to your clients, they will be so happy. And I tell you what, the one thing though from barbershop, I have to say, they last forever. That face wash I've used since probably November.
Yeah.
And probably down to about the last quarter of it. So there's a longevity with them, but I'm using them from a consumer point of view. That's why I've got no moisturizer left, because I think I got 3 cent, and I use them all the time.
Well, that's the moisturizer I think you were on about. But
love it.
We'll keep that. We'll keep that for another time. But the secret ingredient to all of them is Sangre de Grego, the dragon's, not the Game of Thrones type, but dragon's blood is the key. Now I'll just leave it there.
Without further ado, though, we are running behind here on Barbers Arms here on episode 82, and we've got our next guest coming up there. I've met this guy a few times, Gary, when we've been out on shows. I compare the Shabba Awards up in Scotland, which is really nice for me as an Englishman going up to Scotland and getting them off the seats. It's a really nice experience. I think I'm half Scottish, but it's really nice to do that. I met this guy a few times when he's been on stage picking up awards as well. So without further ado, guys, making his debut here on Barbers Arms, let's have a warm welcome for Colin Petrie, the founder and owner of Hard Grind.
Thank you, gentlemen. How are we? Are we good?
Very well.
Good. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, Colin. It's been a long time coming. I know your name's come up quite a few times, and we tried to get you on a few times, but we finally made it anyway. First and foremost, as a Scotsman, you must have a drink in your hand. Have you got a drink on?
We've got a whiskey for you, just sitting here. I had to do it for you. Pour myself a wee dram, as we would say.
What are you drinking then? What's your favourite dram?
I don't really. hard to pick a favourite. I've got the kind of everyday ones, if you know. I'm actually drinking a Teeling, which is an Irish whiskey. It's kind of like my everyday one at the minute. But I mean, you get some beautiful whiskies. Like you're talking hundreds of pounds a 25 ml shot, you know. So I love to say they're my favourite, but no one, I'm not buying a bottle of that anytime soon. So we'll stick with the everyday stuff.
Fantastic. Just for the people out there that don't know you, can you tell us where you're from, where you're based, and who you are, please, sir?
Of course, absolutely. So Colin Petrie, I am the owner of Hard Grind. It is a chain of barbershops up in Scotland. We are almost 8 years. Well, my first original shop actually is 9 years old almost, which was basically a Hard Grind Mark One, if you will. It had all the same aesthetics, all the same service, the exact idea, just called something different. It was on a very small scale, but very quickly I seen that this was going to go somewhere that I really wanted it to go beyond that. So we very quickly moved out our first premises and moved to a huge big shop in Dundee city centre, which is like 3,000 square feet. It's massive. And it was just me, just one single chair by myself. But we had the vision that we'd obviously want to expand on what we wanted to do. So instead of having to move again and again, we took the plunge and took the big old shop. In 2014, we moved and rebranded to Hard Grind, if you will.
So how many locations have you got at the moment?
So we've got 4 right now. So we've got Dundee's our flagship. We've got Aberdeen. We've got Arbroath, which is actually my hometown. And we're just about to open Edinburgh this month as well. So we've done a pop-up in Edinburgh for a little while, but this month sees the official grand opening of Edinburgh as well. So that's 4.
Fantastic. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, well
keeps me turning grey before my years, let's say.
Well, your grey's looking all right with your blonde in there and your guns.
Well, that's to hide it, isn't it? That's to hide it.
You've got your guns out and everything. And
you know what? I was just going to say, he's opening another shop. How on earth do you find the time to go to the gym? I mean, my mate here can't. He's only working part-time.
Do you know what? I have to. It's a part of my daily routine now. It keeps my. It's not only about body for me, but generally, it's cheesy to sound, but my mental focus. I have to. So if it means getting up a little bit earlier to go in the cold tub and hit the gym, then I have to. Or I'm just not the same. I'm a nightmare. My wife will testify to that.
So, Colin, you'll have seen Barbers Arms. We're going to ask you some questions about the business and you and your career.
Yep,
and then we'll
sure.
finish off some quick fire questions to
Love
finish
some
off
quick
with.
fire. Beautiful.
So, first of all, for our viewers that's watching, describe across the 3 locations, a 4th to be open, 4 locations. What is the clientele of Hard Grind? Because sometimes I think when people look at barbershops and they see the images, they see your Instagram, they see your Facebook, they see you. We've got tats, we've got muscles, we've got everything. But what's the client? Tell everybody, what's the clientele? Where does it start? Where does it finish? What range is it? What's your clientele at Hard Grind?
Do you know what? We have everything. We are really, really strong with children and kids. We've got a little private room that we have in the back, which we keep for people that got autism and things like that, who maybe just want more of a private experience and things. I'm a father of 2 myself, and you know how traumatic it can be to take your child to a barbershop and they're kicking off and screaming. So it's not just for the child to have them a pleasant experience, but being able to have a parent to have a nice, relaxing experience when they're taking their child to the barbershop. So we're really strong with kids. And we've got gentlemen, your big grey bearded, grey hairs. I mean, we generally do have it all the way through, you know. Students are huge for us. Dundee's a huge big student city as well. So there is that kind of middle demographic, but we do generally go from first cuts right the way up. But your average would say you're in your kind of 20s and your kind of late teens and stuff like that, I guess.
Okay. So do you go after a certain clientele? You know, when somebody goes for a niche kind of product, do you just open door policy, or is your 18 to mid 25s, is that your core hardcore kind of clientele?
You know what? I didn't really give that a thought. Like when I opened the business, I generally just wanted to create something where I would want to go myself personally. So there was no boardroom meeting. There was no like, what do we want to do? Who do we want to target? I just genuinely opened what I wanted to open. I mean, we took most of my living room from my home at the time. I emptied art off the walls. I took the football table in the middle of the Dundee shop was from my kitchen at home. The jukebox at home, the jukebox at the shop, was an original from my home as well. I put everything I had into Hard Grind when we moved into the Dundee shop, and I just emptied my house to do it. And there was no rhyme or reason. There was no who do I want. I want to create something special, something a bit different, which was more embodied around the service and the experience, not just the haircut. There was plenty of places to get a good haircut, but I always felt at the time they lacked the experience, if you will. You know, the modern shop didn't really exist back then. Like, we're going back 9 years, you know, it didn't really exist back then. And there was very much pictures on the wall to choose from. It was out of date magazines. There was no Wi-Fi. There was no atmosphere. You didn't know if you could sit down, could you speak? It was just an awkward thing. So I was very much about creating a different experience to the barbershop back then.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched you and your shops grow. I think the last time I saw you physically might have been when you picked up the Salon of the Year, the Barbershop of the Year at Shabba Awards, 2019 maybe?
2019, yeah, it would have been. I can barely remember that evening, but I think you were there. Oh, what did they do though, Simon, didn't they?
Because I'm obviously comparing, so I'm keeping nice and sober while I'm on stage, while you lot are getting absolutely obliterated.
Well, do you know what they did though? They gave us we were one of the last awards of the evening to be announced, and they sat our table right next to the bar. I mean, it was dangerous. What were they expecting to happen?
Oh, that's why. Then you're like Gary. You come up with excuses all the time.
Colin, they just wanted a reaction off you. That's all. Or
that's what it was, mate.
They know.
That's what it was.
The thing is, though, with you being a boy, they know you're not easily led, and you know you've got a lot of self-control. It's just that you like beer, don't you? It's just
of course. We were, we were obviously very honoured to win. It was incredible, but we were so stoked to be there. Like, genuinely, it was already a great evening. It was the pinnacle to obviously win at the end. Don't get me wrong, but we were having the best time regardless. It was such a great event. It really was.
I think Shabba's one of those awards as well that if you just go, when you're in the final, you see your name pop up on the big screen, the atmosphere of the evening, it's just, it is about winning, but that whole experience is fantastic.
Yeah, they put on a great show. They really do.
Thank you. Colin, next question.
Yes.
If I was a tourist board in Scotland and I said to you, I want you to describe your shop in 3 words, tell me how you do it. What's the 3 words? Describe your shop.
Simon Shaw. Your questions. 3 words. Unique would be one for sure. Passionate, exciting.
I like it.
There's 3 for you.
Anybody would think we give you these questions beforehand.
I wish you had.
Anybody who's watching around the world, I have not primed Colin whatsoever on these questions, because he just answered them absolutely perfect. I did some media training last week with some fellowship guys, and it was something describe your own town in 3 words, and it took ages. You just reeled them off. Fantastic.
Thank God, because you put me on the spot, that's for sure. I normally do get prepped for certain things, but you've given nothing away. So
no, we never give our questions. A lot of people have been on the show. They'll say, "Oh, do you want to give me questions? Can I prep for your questions?" Nope. We don't.
Keep it real.
Questions. Keep it real. Put people on the spot. It's not about putting people on the spot. It's about, we want an honest reaction.
Yeah, genuine, authentic. Yeah, absolutely. And it works. You can see on all the other episodes, it works really well. So don't change it.
No, it's good. It's good.
Carl, just before we go on to Simon's next question, and with it being apprenticeship week just last week, and I just wanted to get a vibe for Scotland as well. When you came through the system and you did your training, did you do it in the traditional barbershops, and do you use apprentices in your salons as well, in your barbershops?
So my story is quite a bizarre one. Just quickly, I was playing music professionally for a number of years, and I was touring Canada and Europe and all these places. And we always needed a haircut at some point, and we never knew where a place in the city was to go, obviously. So I just started doing some of the band's hair with literally those orange plastic kitchen scissors that your mum used to cut flowers with, you know, the ones. And I loved it. I mean, like, if you're into art or photography or music or barbering, it's all a creative thing, isn't it? So I loved what I was doing, but I had zero idea, obviously, what I was doing. So long story short, music ended. I had a really bad problem with my wrist at the time. And when I came home, I just kept cutting hair, like friends and family and things like that. And one friend of mine happened to be dating a senior stylist in this women's salon in my hometown. And I went in one day and we just got chatting, and the owner of the salon commented on my friend's hair. And she just asked me, where do you work? And I said, oh, I don't really work anywhere. And she went, what do you mean you don't work anywhere? And I told her the story, and she was just a bit dumbfounded by it and gave me a job. So I just started literally cutting hair with zero experience whatsoever, and just was literally self-taught through the whole duration of it. So mine was really an unorthodox entry to the industry, if you will. And it wasn't until I actually had my first shop open and I had clientele and a really steady business that I just felt I was cheating myself and my clients. I was like, I need to know more. This isn't acceptable enough to me. And the industry just happened to start gaining traction. And I was starting to get put in the spotlight with certain people who were really incredible barbers. And I felt like a fraud. I was like, this isn't good. I'm just winging this. This is ridiculous. So I reached out to Vicky from SB and explained my story to her. She didn't have the academy at the time either. But she was looking to progress to her academy, basically. But she had been VTCT qualified as an educator and all the rest of it. So I reached out to her on Instagram, and she just started coming up to Dundee. And she taught me every Monday for about 6 weeks, and just taught me some like clip over comb with some traditional techniques. And it was from there that I really started to flourish and really take the craft seriously, if you will.
Fantastic.
So bizarre.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. But just tell me, what did you play in the band?
I was a drummer, so I played a bit of guitar and piano and things, but drumming was my main thing, which took a big pounding on my wrist. It was punk rock stuff. It was fast and technical, and I was just young and felt invincible, and I didn't warm up properly or do all the right things, and I was just banging away, and I had all these endorsements from companies. It was going amazing, but I just didn't take it seriously enough to really treat my body and my wrists as my breadwinner, if you will. So I just tarnished them, and we were actually going on tour in Canada. And my doctors told me not to go. They're like, look, you cannot go. You've seen a bunch of specialists. You need to give your wrists a break. And I just thought, whatever. I can't let them down. So it was like 28 days or something back to back or something. And I went, and halfway or 3/4 of the way through the tour, I dropped a stick during one of the songs, which was embarrassing as hell. The song fell apart completely. The whole band turned around to look at me, but I couldn't even re-pick up the stick. It was just gone. My wrist was like, oh, this is bad now. And we had to literally stop in the middle of the show. And I never played professionally since. I never did really anything since that. It was that bad. So ruined it for myself. And even in barbering, you mean your techniques and you're moving your wrists and things. It still has a lot of tweaking things, but I've given it enough rest that it's not ever caused me any problems in barbering, thankfully.
Unbelievable. I knew there was a story there. I knew it.
Yeah.
A ridiculous one.
It's a heck of a story if it's true.
It is, I promise you that.
Hey. Have you heard of a whiskey called Strath Island?
Strath Island? I think I have, yes. There's so many. It rings a bell.
Near Keith.
It's in Keith.
It's in Keith.
In Keith. Drumkeith, maybe?
One of the gallery around me here in Barbers Arms is saying that his favourite whiskey is Strath Island in Keith. It's near Inverness.
Okay, a bit further north than me. Excuse me.
Just excuse me a sec for a minute, Colin. It says go fuck off. It's not going
in. Just quickly, Simon, can I just get our last beer in? The producer's going mad. Just got to our third beer. This is the last one of the night. This is a Badger again from Dorset. It's called the Wicked Wyvern. It's 5%. It's an IPA. It's an American. It's grapefruit, deep bronze colour, quite zesty, and it's a nod to our American cousins. So
beautiful.
Good
answer. You love yourself a good beer, don't you, mate?
Thank you, Bar. All the best.
He's an expert in alcohol. He's not an alcoholic, but he's an expert in alcohol. Trust me on it. Carl, what is the biggest thing? It's a great story, and you're a great guy, and I think your brand, you can tell the drive behind the brand is you. You drive it forward, mate. So well done for that.
Thank you.
What is just tell everybody, because everybody will look at you and think, well, he's there now. He's got 4 shops. It's like tickety-boo. But what's the secret ingredients? What makes you tick? What's the thing that drives you forward? Is it money? Is it family? Is it fame? What motivates you?
Do you know what? It's my team and my family are everything. They really are. I'd never even seen look at the industry now. I'm talking 9 years ago when I started my shop. you would never have seen what's happened. I mean, especially for me, like you've heard the story of how it started. I mean, front covers of magazines, awards, stage shows, education wasn't even in a foresight of mine. It didn't exist. It wasn't even a path that was even ever going to be possible. And it's taken me to heights that are absolutely insane. Like I've cut hair in Russia of all places. Like it's just madness. You know, a place you never thought you'd ever go. And it was never the plan to go there either, though, if that makes sense, or to any of the stage shows or things like that. But the people that have moved, like we've had people move from Australia, from Budapest, Berlin, England, Wales, Ireland, all these places to come and join the brand, which to this day is still the most, I mean, I still probably can't even really put it into words genuinely. I mean, that's incredible to me. I've had people move their families, like with small children who are just born up here their whole lives to work with me at the brand. And that drives me. That's knowing that people still get why we're trying to do it and what we're trying to do. That drives everything for me. It was never about making money. I mean, I didn't think there was that much money to be made in barbering when you first started doing it. Especially the special avenues it's taken us to, it wasn't even a possibility in my mind. But
I mean,
that drive, they give me that passion to keep wanting to push for them. You know, they keep me going all day, every day. And like I say, when I first started the shop, I didn't have my family at all. And I've got 2 young boys now who are 6 and 4. And that's my everyday. That's my grind every day now to get up for them and to create something to keep myself flexible, to have time with them, but still do something I love. I want to teach them to have something that they love, and I get to do it every single day.
Good lad. My son's 22, my daughter's 31, and that's my drive. So it never leaves you that part of it. It never leaves. Before you go on there, for him to say that people move away, it's got to be because of the brand, and it has to be because of you and the hard grind brand. Because who the fuck else would want to live in Arbroath, Dundee? Do
you know what? I'll give you that. That was one of the reasons that we never really did small towns. I mean, I've only ever done a small town like Arbroath because it's my hometown. But you really have to have that thing of it. There has to be something to pull them.
I know I've joked about that there, but it is to do with you and the brand. It's not to do with the cities. It's definitely got to do with what you've created. So, congratulations.
I appreciate that, mate.
Well done.
Thank you very much, mate. That means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you.
With your staff, Colin, you know, when you get them to travel to you, and you know they do come to the city or wherever. Are they all salaried, or do they work for the South? Do you franchise? How do you work your business out?
They all work on a self-employment basis now. When I first started the shop, that didn't exist to me either. I mean, I'd done a lot of experience in managerial stuff in like streetwear and retail and things, and hourly wages and salaries was all I'd ever known. I never knew anything about a self-employment business. So when we first started the company, it was hourly because that's what I knew. But it very quickly became obvious that there's only so much you can keep paying someone hourly, especially for a skilled trade like this, because your PAYE bill every month is just massive and massive. And I was like, I'd rather not have that bill and give the guys more money who deserve it, you know? So we instantly switched it up to a self-employment basis. I mean, they didn't put the company really up or down too much, but the extra money we weren't paying in PAYE every month could go to the staff who bloody earn it, you know? So most of the guys work on a commission basis. Some of the guys who first come in as apprentices will go on an hourly kind of thing. But for the most part, falling out. For the most part, the guys are all self-employed and still working under the brand and under the operations manual of the company. But they can make far better money working on their own kind of commission, if that makes sense, you know.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Fantastic. Great to have him on, isn't it? We've been waiting. Your name's come up so much on production about getting you. Yeah, and it took us 82 episodes to get you and Dom Lehane on as well. So biggie tonight on episode 82. Guys, don't forget to watch any of our our previous podcasts as well. All on our website, which is thebarbersarms.co.uk. Gaz is the British Barber, Simon Shaw Wahl, and the Barbers_Arms. Them's our Instagrams. Website is thebritishbarbers.co.uk. If you want to email us, it is barbersarms@thebritishbarber.com. You're watching Colin Petrie, who is he's the founder and the owner of Hard Grind up in Scotland. Fantastic interview. I'm going to finish off with some quick fire questions for you, Col.
As always, go for it.
As always, a little bit different to what we've just done with Dom, but
sure.
Are you a tea or coffee man?
Oh, do you know what? This is the worst thing ever. I own a chain of coffee shops called Daily Grind. I don't even like coffee. That's the worst thing ever.
Wow.
I know. So I know a lot about it. I can tell you everything about the making, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the smell is one of my favorite things ever. Can't do the taste. So apparently when I grow up, maybe when I'm a big boy, I might grow to it. But to this day, there's no hot drinks for me. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
So neither.
Neither. I'm a water kind of guy. I know,
Are you a
terrible.
Cat or dog man?
Dog. My dog is lying at my feet right now, sleeping in front of the fire. He's right on the floor.
Nice one.
I'll even
What
touch him.
kind of
There
dog
he is
you
there.
got?
Like, I've got a beagle.
Oh,
He's all chilling on the floor, sleeping by the fire right now. So yeah, more of a
Nice.
dog man for sure.
Chinese or Indian food?
Chinese all the way. Absolutely.
Same here. Night in or night out?
Ah, God, I'm a night in kind of guy now. I'm 38 this year. I feel like I'm starting to get to that age where it's a whiskey by the fire and maybe a glass of red with a wife. It's just, yeah, I'm boring these days.
It's our ages. It's a night out, no, night in, but fucking bed by 8 o'clock.
That's it. You kept me up. It's 26 minutes past 9 here, guys. Come on.
I do apologise. Are you dressed up or casual?
I'm a casual kind of guy. Absolutely.
Excellent. Cole, it's been great to interview you, mate. I'm looking forward to Scotland, and I'm going to come up to one of the grind coffee places and have a coffee with you.
Good lad. I look forward to that. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a pleasure as always.
When I'm up in Scotland in a few weeks.
Do it. Please do.
I'll reach out to you and we'll meet up at a location. All the best, buddy.
Well you too, mate. Guys, you too. Good to see you, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you for giving us your time on a blustery Wednesday night. All the very best.
You too, guys. Cheers, gents. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great interview, guys, tonight. Both guys, I think Colin and Dom were fantastic tonight. I really enjoyed it. We have gone over schedule. We're normally finished, but I'm not having a pee by this time.
We're about 7 minutes over. What's up? Can you remember in the early days when we were slaughtered and we were going for 2 hours?
Oh,
I can.
Well, he can. Carl can.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah, we'll fetch Carl in. Got Carl Smith in the house.
That was one of my favourite bits, and when you got slaughtered, Gary.
I've been warned now. I can't have too much. I've been told they want me to, but I know he was constantly egging me on to get me more drunk to just show me up. I've found him out now, Carl. He was even drinking water shots at one point.
Oh, that was just a myth across you and Trevor. But I have to say, Gary, we have kept this nice and sober over the last maybe 30 episodes, 40 episodes, maybe. You know what? I'm thinking back as well to last year. We were talking about, I think last year in particular, going through the lockdown and stuff, there were deaths around us and stuff like that. And it's been, a time to reflect and a time where things are getting more positive. But I think we've got to get more positive as well out there. Guys who's listening, I think you have to be more positive and, invest in training, invest into move your businesses forward and to move, whatever you're doing, we can't just stand still. It's a new world again. We've got to move forward. I think I'm going to pass on to Gaz to say this tonight, but I just want to finish off by saying, what's happening around the world at the minute is not good. My thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in the Ukraine and the Russian soldiers as well that potentially could lose their lives through this horrific conflict. But such sad times there. And so I'm not going to finish off on let's all get positive when there's some bad stuff around as well. My thoughts are going out to all those people as well. And anybody who watches any news when I stopped watching news because of COVID, and then you put it on and it's not good listening, especially when Judge Rinder is giving it out on Good Morning Britain as well. That's even fucking worse because he is a drama queen. But guys, I'll pass over to you. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you on the 16th. On the 16th as well, we've got some amazing guests coming up on the 16th as well. We have got Jack Mode, who's the head barber lecturer from MK College. They've got the biggest intake of barbering students in the UK, so that'll be great to get Jack on from Milton Keynes College. Let's see how the college lecturers are coping with the, the barber influx of how they're doing the training. And then we have Jim Valenzuela, Manakrin from the USA. Well, it's Jim V. He's got the fantastic V Barbers who are all over America. We're going to get Jim on as well with Jack, and that's on Wednesday, the 16th of March. Gary.
Well, after that, there isn't a lot for me to say, is there? But other than God night, God bless, can I just say as well that my favourite beer of the night is the Thirsty Ferret. That's got my, even though you didn't partake tonight, the Thirsty Ferret was the best at the moment. But yeah, all I can say is all our thoughts are with everybody in the Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everybody who's been on the show. Mark Walters, Nadine Farquhar, and a few others, Tammy Reynolds, Peter Monreal. Thank you for watching. Anybody who's catching this up on the podcast or catch up, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you on the 16th of March. Good night, God bless.
Good night, guys. See you on 16th.